then, he said he wants two ends of the spectrum, things, because David, I've been waiting 3 years to meet you.
3 years, it's been a long time.
COVID, cancellations, and yet here you are.
Desperate to meet you, and now here we are.
And here we are.
All 4 of us together.
And then Russ, literally just started chatting a couple of weeks ago.
Just 2 weeks ago, yes.
And there you are. Two fantastic guests.
Here I am.
So really good to see you. What I'd like to just talk about first of all, just get this out of the way. David, you're a Hull boy, is this right?
I am. I was born in Nottingham Maternity Hospital.
Right.
On Nottingham Road.
Excellent.
Yes, excellent. And I lived for 18 years just off Bentley Road, near Queen's Road.
Yes.
Elm Road. I don't think that's giving too much away.
No, that's not giving too much away. Obviously, it's nice to hear you have an optical accent, David. So, and again, all right, talking about opposite ends of the spectrum again, you're from Canada.
I am. I'm from Montreal, Canada.
That's right, yeah.
Live in London, been there for 30 years now. So 31 years, I think, so longer than I lived in Canada, but I've never lost my accent.
Excellent. So David, you seem to have brought something on.
Well, I just put it down there. I thought,
Is there a good reason why you're carrying a Cyberman head?
well, Chris, who's representing Star Wars today, met me in Sheffield. I was doing an event in Sheffield, and he introduced himself, and he makes these, and he brought them along, and he's lent it to me. So it's been by my side as I've been signing, and I thought I'd better bring him on. He might get back at me if I didn't include him. You can see I deactivated him. You can see all his pipes have been pulled out. If you want to deactivate a Cyberman, just pull out his pipes. Also, if you want to get on in life, get ahead.
Hey! Excellent. Right, what I'm going to ask you, David. I'm not an actor, David. I don't know how you go around getting acting jobs or how you choose the parts you want to do.
I don't know how you go about getting acting jobs.
How did you end up being a Cyberman? Did you see an advert think that's the job for me?
I did.
Excellent.
I did. My agent didn't agree because he was behind the mask. But I really quite like Doctor Who. And it's just one of those things that many actors do, and you think, even if you die in the first few minutes, you know what you're doing. But this was the Cyberleader. I knew I got dialogue. And it reminded me of when I first saw the Cybermen, which was really scary to me, and that was the 10th planet. And does anybody remember the 10th planet, the first Cybermen? Probably quite old person. They're calling it. Sorry. I'm twice as old as you. But, it was these creatures who had naked hands and a kind of concertina in front of them. That concertina was their heart and their lungs and so on. And their faces were wreathed in cloth. You can see that they're real human beings underneath. And that's the thing about the Cybermen. I have to say that the modern Cybermen don't remind you of that at all, really. They don't remind you that underneath is a real living person that has had heart and lungs taken away, possibly their legs, reinforced at least. And they have sometimes memories of what it was like to be human. And that's what interested me, first of all. And I told my agent, I really want to play this part. And she said, oh, okay, you won't get recognized anyway. So I went up for it and read for it and did it for, during the 80s. And I've come back, I've done the Big Finish stories. I went on tour with John Pertwee and Colin. And, we've worked with Sylvester in pantomime and things like that. He changed into me. He was the old fakir, I was the young fakir, and it was Earth the Kid. I don't know if anybody remembers Earth the Kid, but she came over. She was standing in the wings and couldn't work out what this theatre was called pantomime, and she was playing the princess, and she was going to be marrying this old fakir. She didn't like that, so she changed him into a young fakir. So I married Earth the Kid twice nightly. Excellent.
Tell me about it. So, Russ, I'd like to know a similar thing about you, because I know that you're associated with a small teddy bear. I also know that you're quite scary things on lots of it.
Yes.
How did you stumble into this line of work?
Well, years of working in theater, and I trained with the Muppets, Jim Henson's company, in the early 90s here in the UK when they were based in Camden. And around 2006, I landed a role on a Sunday morning show called Smile, which then led to Bear Behaving Badly, which was Neff there, my little movie, love you.
Do we remember Bear Behaving Badly?
Who remembers Bear Behaving Badly? Got a few fans, got fans out there. Uh-oh, no way, Jose. So when I was doing that, strangely, I had a casting for Clash of the Titans. I was up for a warrior role, which I didn't get, but then they offered me a role as one of the witches, which was very heavily prosthetic. And that job was really challenging, but the makeup team really took a shine to me because I was able to do it. And from that, I got Game of Thrones. From that, I got Doctor Who, loads of horror movies, and I just ended up doing lots of monster stuff. So my acting career kind of just moved into puppeteering and then almost straight into preacher work.
Okay, so Costa's sort of got a gap here between when you were doing monsters. I want to compare a little bit what it was like then as opposed to now. So first of all, are actors playing monsters treated well on set? You never get forgotten about, or
I would say sometimes you do get forgotten about, but the roles that I've played personally in my experience, I've always had a team of makeup people around me all the time, protecting either the makeup or whatever the costume is, because it's very, very, very expensive and priceless, and you don't want to leave me alone with somebody, something happens to it. They're kind of very protective of it. So I don't feel ever alone on set. I always have like a team of makeup people who are, giving me water to drink or putting a fan near my face so I can breathe. Some of the costumes I've worn are very, 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 very hot, and the lights can be extremely hot, so you can overheat easily, which has happened to me on Clash of the Titans and on Doctor Who. So I feel very well looked after, but sometimes people forget there's a person inside of the costume, I would say.
what about you, Tim? Were you screwed into that thing? How was that?
Yeah, well, in Earthshock, that panel, so this will get it on, take the panel off, and in Earthshock, which is the first one that I did, they used to screw the panel in there. So once you were in it, you knew you couldn't get out unless you could find somebody with a screwdriver. And there were a couple of extras who really found that difficult. So only two of the Cybermen actually walked and talked. And I was one of them, and my Cyber Lieutenant was the other. And then the other Cybermen, 4 or 5 of them, just kind of marched behind us and so on. So they had nothing to think about but how to get out of their head.
Yes.
And some of them really, one in particular was just when he had to be held down really on screen. It's a scary, it can be a scary thing. But after that, you just up you just fix it in and you could take it out. It's a state of mind. You would have been
Yeah, I would say it's a state of mind, definitely. You need to be able to go to your quiet place.
I've heard about quite a serious medical condition. What is Cyberleader?
Well, that's not the worst one. Have you heard of Cyberleader? Cyberleader, yeah, because the first helmets, the first heads weren't as wide as that, weren't as deep, and so it meant that your nose was rubbing on the fiberglass inside. Yeah, and it just got a bit itchy. I mean, it wasn't all that bad. There was also, yeah, Cyberleader, which was later. That Cyberleader came in Silver Nemesis, and it was because the costume itself wasn't such a resilient one. The first costumes were G-force costumes for people driving, piloting, fighter planes, and they went so high they had to get warm, so that's what the pipes were about. But later on you had the canvas, which wasn't strong, and then the pipes were sort of paintball, and they tended to split. And so they could, you know, if you were working your legs too much, they could split with the crunch.
Is that the costume there?
That's the earlier costume.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But yeah, I did have the interesting experience of having to submit to one of the property managers, who used some tape to put it up again, and that's quite a ticklish operation.
Not something you probably do now. Now, I want to talk about briefly about Game of Thrones.
Game of Thrones. Yes.
What I want to know about this is because, and I think this proves that it's working well. With David, I know the Cybermen is physical and real, and it's there. But with the Walker, I can't tell if it's all costume, if it's augmented CG, I don't get it. It's amazing.
It is amazing, and
What was you?
all of it. And the whole thing was makeup. It took about 5 to 6 hours to get into. It was a complete body cast, and then, I would be glued and wiggled into a whole outfit. So everything you see on Game of Thrones, the White Walker, is 100% makeup, with the exception of the eyes. That was CGI, just the blue glowing eyes were the only thing. Everything else was makeup. And
You on horseback as well?
I was on horseback, yes. I went for 3 months of horseback riding lessons, and I was riding bareback as well, so there's that.
Obviously those sequences where the water's out, it's still so where was that filmed?
Well,
Exotic location?
no, season 2 was in a studio about this size at Shepperton Studios, green screen, so it looked like we were out in Iceland or way up north, but we were not. It was actually boiling hot, very, very hot. The horse and I were sweating. Seasons 3 and 4 were all shot in Northern Ireland, and that was just quite damp and cold, but there was a lot of fake snow blowing around. Yeah. Glamorous? I don't know. Not when it's cold. When it's cold, the costume gets cold. When the latex gets cold. And when the latex gets cold, there's very little you can do to warm it, other than have body kind of heat. So, again, like I said, I would have a team of makeup artists around me sort of holding me to keep me warm with blankets, because you can't really heat the costume up really any other way. So they would kind of cuddle me between shots, especially doing night shoots when it was freezing. Yeah.
Sounds like a Frenchman.
Yeah, it was sweet. They were sweet.
So I'm going to be slightly rude here, just scoot over talking about some of the Doctor Who episodes. I know that you've been talking about this after about it. So your name became known to me a lot more during the older Doctor Who fans like me was during what was called the years basically. Doctor Who wasn't on telly for a long time, yet you sort of knew there was still an audience for Doctor Who stuff, and you created a beautiful Cyberman book and you're amazing over, you know, with sound effects and the music arranged by yourself. Why did you suddenly think that this was here to tap into?
Well, I was just really fascinated by Cybermen and the cyber myth, and I wanted to make sense of these different stories that had come out ad hoc, it seemed to me. So, and you never got explained to you why the Cybermen would be slightly different, why they were, as I described them, in 10th planet, and then they became rather gooky ones with moon base and so on. And how they became 500 years later, we know 500 years has passed when I came into Doctor Who as the Cyberleader. How did this happen? That kind of Cyberman thing. And so I thought of a way of bringing all that together and changing the stories around. It would be an academic from a planet, an archivist from a planet far away, who just knew the documents and wanted to make sense of it. So that, it interested me. And I thought, well, if it interested me, and I had interesting conversations with fans, that it would interest them as well. So I really went into it in a kind of serious academic way, but also kind of tongue-in-cheek. But it seems to me that the cyber story is a vital one then. We all knew about climate change then. When I played the Doctor in The Ultimate Adventure, the two chances I got, I had a Greenpeace t-shirt. I was warning Earth about what was coming and that we had to really look after Earth. That was 30 years ago. What's been happening since? And the cyber myth is about these humans who have had to alter themselves, to adapt themselves in order to live on the planet that they've ruined. And they've got sicker and sicker, and so they have to walk around in uniforms, in costumes, exoskeletons like that. That is the warning for us. It's clearly not been heeded by the likes of our political leaders anyway. I think it's getting through to ordinary people like us. Ordinary people have got to rise up and say enough's enough. Let's stop it. Stop earning all this money. Stop earning all this oil. Let's get back to the planet that we love. There is no other planet. Must be most the person who's probably been the richest person in all of history is trying to take us to Mars. Mars is good. It will take us hundreds of thousands of years before it will do for us. There's no planet B. This is the planet that we must save. That is the story of the Cybermen. Amen.
There you go.
And can I give a shout out to Maddie and Kathy? Thank you so much for putting up with me in the last few days. Thank you.
Okay, so, Russ, being in your presence, you are a tall
I am 6'4".
I can tell looking at you that yes, you're definitely one of them.
Thank you. I'll take that as a strange compliment.
Obviously, I've pictures of you, does anybody ever recognise you?
Not often, but I have done a series of interviews on Sky and on Throwncast. So when those were aired, whenever they would air, usually people would come up to me maybe in the pub or on the tube and say, hey, people who live near me, you know, my neighbors who see me every day, who maybe don't speak to me, would suddenly come up to me and go, sorry, but did I see you the other night on, Sky talking about, are you like one of the White Walkers? I was like, yeah. And they're like, oh, that's so cool. You know, people in the gym and all that.
Breaking from the White Walker Walk where you've been really angry and menacing.
I think I do that just on a day. I think that's how I got the role, really. I am a Londoner through and through. People don't mess with me. I'm a very street savvy guy.
Right, now David, you you mentioned something else I was going to talk to you about, and I think some people might have gone, what did you just say? You once played the Doctor.
Yeah, when Sylvester played his last Doctor, that was it. You know, that was 1809, and we thought that was the end of Doctor Who as we knew it. In a way, it was. But somebody came up with the idea. Well, the producer, JNT, John Nathan Turner, came up with the idea of putting it on stage. So the next year, or that year actually, we started rehearsals for what was going to be almost a year-long tour of a Doctor Who show called The Ultimate Adventure. I was brought in not as a Cyberman, but as a baddie, as the baddie, Carl. They needed somebody to understudy John Pertwee, who was going to be playing the Doctor. And I thought, John was going to be 70 during the tour, and I thought, well, there'll be some shows that he didn't want to do or he'd give up. And so I agreed to understudy the Doctor, but I wanted my own costume and I wanted my own rehearsals. And I did get the chance to play it just for a couple of shows. And it, you know, it worked out okay. And there are not so many people who play the Doctor, so I'm very glad to be.
Well, of course, now that's all canon, isn't it? They've created this backstory for the Doctor where who knows how many incarnations there'll be.
Yeah.
So you've done well with the official.
I'm a bit official.
You're a multi-verse from Spider-Man these days, weren't you? Yeah. Okay, so it has been absolutely fantastic.
Thank you.
I know that you've got some amazing photos of you. I know you've got some of your CDs and the Samurai archive. And you know, I've looked forward to meeting you both.
Thank you.
Cyberleader, so really pleased to have joined us. And can everyone give a big round of applause to David and Brooke?
If you have any questions you want to ask, just come over to the desk and ask a question. We're there to chat. Chat is free. All right? Enjoy the con.
Thank you.